Today, we are doing a damage report on the ban list of December 1st, 2020. Let's face the facts here, it's super early for a ban list. This is probably an E-ban, except that you guys aren't calling it an E-ban because it didn't really hit the deck. We'll get into some of the technical terms in a bit, but in this video, I do have several giveaway announcements. I have a lot of announcements, so I'm going to spread them out throughout the entire video, so you guys, well, if you catch a glimpse of it, you guys can get those random perks. But, one of them involves, the Free the Bunny giveaway, which could get you a nice little rescue rabbit. You guys can save a rescue rabbit from suffocating in this plastic bag. More on that later. Another giveaway that never really got given away, which is why we're relaunching the giveaway, of course, is the side deck binder. Yeah, someone just didn't want their binder. I mean, that's what you get if you create fake accounts, but whatever the case may be, yeah, that's right. The first page is already loaded with ashes, and there's also imperms and everything. Yes, this whole binder is like $450 worth of staples. More on that later as well. And you know what? Thank you guys for coming in to watching this damage report for December 1st, 2022. And hopefully by February, we're probably going to get another ban list sooner than later. So this one's going to be a little bit different. We're going to go into the context first by starting with the actual list. Okay, for ban cards, we have Mystic Mine and Curious. For the limited, the one card that actually affects Ishizu tier limit, we have Herald of the Orange Light. Collateral damage to anyone that's playing Drytron. I don't think you should be playing Drytron in this format anyway, because there's just way too many bestial cards. Next, releasing the Kraken here. We're just opening the jail doors because we have Lyrolist, Recital Starling, we have Ptolemaeus to 3, we have Tenki to 3, we have D-Fissure to 3, Macrocosmos to 3, and Metaverse to 3. Wow, okay, this is a lot to take in. So this is still technically an E-ban in my book, and I've been through multiple E-bans, and to be honest, first of all, this ban list is coming out 2 months after the last ban list. The last one was October 3rd, this one is December 1st. This is really, really early for Konami, alright? And what was this triggered by? Well, probably the top cut list of most of the events, mainly being Ishizu tier limit, and maybe a couple of Flaunderies and a couple of Sprites here and there, maybe a couple of Madolches, maybe a couple of Naturias, but you guys kind of get my drift here. You would still see an 80% representation of the Ishizu tier limit, and that's what probably triggered this. So in other words, it's still an E-ban list, but probably not one that you would expect, because usually E-ban list, they usually hit more cards within that deck. Well, they can't really do it right now because they probably have something else planned. I think we might even get an earlier ban list come next year, 2023, and it's going to be a big one where they will hit certain cards within the tier limit deck directly, but now is not the time. So why 0 hits on these Ishizu cards? It's buyer's confidence. Imagine you just bought 3 structure deck of the Dark World stuff, all right? Just imagine the Dark World stuff, you bought 3 of the structure deck, and immediately they just start to act like, oh, Grapha is going to be banned, and then this card you can't play it, you get to limit it to the new Rainbow. Like, you would feel pretty upset because that like ruins your buyer's confidence. Like, you didn't have the product for very long, and you can't even play it at the most competitive and most supported level. So what's the point? You're not going to play this game anymore. So obviously they can't hit those cards. So they decided to go the Suicide Squad route, release everything that hurts them, everything that was a villain in this game. They just had to go, you know what, here you go, you guys can have fun with all of these pretty hefty banish base cards. And they even decided to give us Teller Knight Ptolemaeus back. And to appease the rest of the crowd, they threw away Mystic Mine, just because, that card can just burn in the Shadow Realm for all we care. But it's mainly there to appease us so that we will keep playing this game and hopefully give them a little more time. They're just basically buying time at this point. But let's get into the actual damage report. Let's go into Ishizu. For the damage report of Ishizu tier limit, this is supposed to hurt them a lot, but they really only lost 2 cards, being the Herald of Orange Light. Alright, in terms of deck repair, we're going to go with a direct deck repair approach. We're going to go with Forbidden Droplet, or you can go for Triple Tack, or maybe you can put a Galaxy Cyclone in there if you're really annoyed by the upcoming back row. But in terms of like the context here, what really changed for them was that there's a lot more stuff they have to answer to, which hopefully will drown out some of the guys at the top and give other decks a chance to come up. Maybe make it a 3-deck format rather than just a 1-deck format. I know that the other decks can play, but we're still looking at an 80 percentile range in terms of the top cut, which is pretty significant. All right, guys. So what changed for them? In terms of combo losses and gains, well, there's a lack of Mystic Mine now, which is great, but you traded it, of course, for 2 of your best hand traps. The deck still can't take out back row removal like Heartbeat, because with 3 Metaverse and a bunch of other Floodgates, there's going to be problems. Like Floodgates, like Dimensional Fissure. I think this card is going to see a lot of side deck play because it just hurts the deck so much. You can't really get your fusions out if everything keeps on getting banished. You can't land your guys into the graveyard. There's going to be a lot of problems, and it's also really good against a lot of other decks like Bystials. Like, it's good against Sprite. There's just a lot of stuff it's really good against. Oh, I think this is going to be the card where people build their board and slap this card on top just so that they can lock down the game and secure it so they maybe can go into a game 3. The other card that I would say is significant is Necro Valley, or just anything that comes out from Metaverse, because that card always has impact, and it even has a chance to like just add a card back to your hand even if like the whole board is about to be wiped. So there's like flexibility when it comes to Metaverse, and Necro Valley at the end of the chain link is always going to be like completely devastating. You go chain link 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then suddenly someone chains Metaverse as chain link 11, and then suddenly Necro Valley's on the board, and basically chain link 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, those are all negated because they all touch the graveyard. Yeah, it can get that bad. But one key monster that we have to pay attention to, which is new, of course, is Constellar Diamond, or Stellar Knight Constellar Diamond. Because Ptolemaeus got released, anyone that can make 2 level 4s can make this monster, which is why it's likely that you might even see this in the mirror match, where Tearlament players, they're just going to put it out. And just to be fair, just because we have access to all these cards doesn't mean that the game is over. Likely, people might shift back into a build with Zeus. Why Zeus? Is because you can quickly summon out any of your Ishizu monster, even under D-Fissure, even under Macrocosmos. All you have to do is discard an Earth Fairy, and boom, you get to immediately just summon out anything you want. And usually when it comes to like board building, even the yugioh jumping out of the hand would be a necessity when it comes to like, oh, I'm gonna be locked down from banish-based floodgates. So this is something that we just should expect. And there's also an option where people might just jump into playing Tornado Dragon, because Tornado Dragon is a little bit more flexible when it comes to dealing with D-Fissure, because you can detach the material and they'll still hit the graveyard, and that means after you pop the D-Fissure, you still have access to everything in your graveyard. You can still use those cards, and that's why it's really important to, you know, have access to something like Tornado Dragon. And even if you're under D-Fissure, you can still summon stuff like the Ishizu cards with their special summon, because they just need to discard an Earth Fairy. So yeah, there's a lot of that stuff going on. And those are, I would say, the 3 main changes. Macrocosmos, I don't think that we're going to see as many Macrocosmos, maybe except from like Flu or maybe Kashtira's. But overall, I think Dimensional Fissure would be one of the more significant ones. And you're likely going to only see it coming from like a level 4 deck. Before we get into report number 2, which is significant because it does relate to beasts and creatures, you guys get to save an animal. Save this rescue rabbit from being suffocated in this plastic bag. That's up to you guys. Of course, there's a link down in the description, which is going to link to a tweet of mine. And just remember to reply. You don't want to be like that guy that missed out on the binder, or the other guy that also missed out on the same binder. Alright, so check out the tweet. The link will be down in the description. And guys, don't forget to check out MST.TV because the sale is going on right now. A rare sale where we even put some of the stuff that we never want to put on sale for the first time ever. If you guys want to stock up on sleeves, mats, box dividers, you got time to sort your collection, you want to keep it nice and organized, this is your chance to do so at MSTmerch.com. This is the Black Friday week sale, whatever you guys want to call it. But yeah, it's only going to run until Monday, and that would be the end of the sale, I guess. But anyways, let's go into report number 2, and thank you guys for helping out. Damage report number 2, Bird Up. This is not a damage report, but this is more like an earnings report, because definitely this deck is just winning. And then when it comes to this ban list, okay, Recital Starling 2, this definitely just revitalized the entire deck. The opening combo is back. You can go back to the classic opening combo because you have 2 Recital Starlings. This deck offers a lot in terms of what it is. It's almost like you're playing a 2021 deck in the 2022 format. So it's going to be interesting to see how this one plays out. And also, this is one of the decks that can play finish with a D-Fissure at the end of the combo. So yeah, it's another one of those. In terms of deck repairs, +1 to 5 formation Tenki, which is more consistency to get big fractals. You have less Resettle Starling, which now lets you set up the Utopic Draco Future opening. And yeah, you can definitely spam out Lyra Lusk. And it gives you the OTK crashing play, which is also good. As for stuff that they didn't have before, Sprite Elf, remember Kit and Karis are both level 2s, which means if you start with the Fractal, dump Kit, dump Nerval, now you have a Kit in the graveyard that likely you might not have a chance to summon, but if you do go into a Sprite Elf with the Karis, or any of your Link 2s for that matter, you get to revive the Karis and just drop another monster on the field. And if you guys haven't been keeping up to date with this deck, Scareclaw Lightheart is of course one of their latest staple edition because it lets them just banish one to get out another body because that is a Beast Warrior. Alright, so in terms of deck gain, well, they have their full combo back. They have the Crashing OTK, and let us not forget, if you guys don't know what the Crashing OTK is, you use, Recital Starlings, 2 of them, make sure you don't boost, or rather, if you're going to boost, you're only boosting your opponent's monster, and then you just crash everything into it under an Assemble Nightingale, so that you don't take any damage, but your opponent takes all the damage. Yeah, it gets pretty rough. You can get killed randomly like that, or win in time, because you can also have a direct attacker thanks to Assemble Nightingale. Yeah, there's that kind of stuff, and Assemble Nightingale also gives you very quick access to Zeus if you need to clear boards. That's kind of the classic, the 2021 classic of Zeus. Now, in terms of like the board that they build, it can get pretty nasty. You can see Appaloosa, Draco Future, Ensemble Robin. There's a lot of bouncing. If I'm looking at this correctly, you can probably see Ensemble Robin just bouncing 2 of the potential summons that your opponent is putting out. So if they go Kit Kalos, I guess maybe you can try to bounce the Kit Kalos. I think there's an opportunity that you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. But even if you can't bounce with that one, there's another monster you can play with to bounce away some of the stuff, which is Ancient Warriors Oath. Double Dragon Lords, that's an option, and you also have Revolt to do the Banish play as well. Of course, if you're going to load your entire board, getting that Banish play is not going to be the easiest thing, unless, of course, you set yourself up with one of the Rugals. Is his name Rugal? I think it's Rugal. The one, so you summon with a 3 and a 1, and boom, instantly you can still do the Shurek play. It's pretty nasty if you can get that far. And this deck, of course, is known to get very quick OTKs. Can't speak for some reason. But that being said, a skilled Ishizu player is likely going to shuffle back a lot of your Beast Warrior stuff. Because remember, you banish stuff for cost. They have to preempt everything. And if you somehow manage to load your stuff, that means you still haven't used your effects yet. And if you start going with your effects now, that's when it really starts to hurt. And yeah, I feel like this is just one of those decks that definitely can make a splash once again, and in more ways than one, really. So I think they're likely going to see a lot more play, because I just feel like they're just making a comeback. I don't know. Was this a fan favorite deck back in 2021? And Konami's just like, hey, you guys can play this again. Tier list potential. This is what the format has shaped up to be so far. I'm hoping that things will change up, but Ishizu tier limit has taken the top spot for a very, very long time. But Ishizu tier, all right. Top spot for sure, even with all the stuff available to go against them. If they win, they win. If they win the battle, they have outs even to all those floodgates. It's just how it is. Then we have Fluandereeze. It's just one of those counter decks. It's very hard for anyone to play as long as you're playing within their tempo. You can't win. Sprite variants, Bestial sprites, all the sprite variants, they're all really, really strong. Even to this day, like, you can't write them off. Like, among the 3 decks here, all of them made top cut in the NA YCSs, so it is what it is. Bestial variants, they didn't do as successful, perhaps, but I mean, you can play Thunder Dragon variant of Bestial. It's still very strong. Branded variants, a bit more iffy. I mean, I would have lowered them a little bit because of all the Floodgate stuff, but hey, maybe they can bypass it if they play Thunder Dragon, because banishing works in their favor. Naturia is also very strong, although slightly hit by the banish-based stuff, but they have Vernisylph, they have Ishizu, they have just a lot of different builds, all very strong, and you can really just max out on Mole Cricket. Mole Cricket is just incredible. And maybe even Antlion. And then there's also Runics. Yeah, I'm not writing them off. They're still really annoying. Sure, we don't have the Runic Burn deck anymore, like Mystic Mind Burn. But hey, here we go. High tier potential, Tri-Brigade Lyrillist. I'm putting them that high because I do believe that they are a really solid potential deck to play in this current format. Exorcisters, they're just there. Madolches, I believe Herman Hansen and a couple others topped it in EU. So yeah, it's Ishizu Madolche. Very strong. Ignister, just put out a boss monster and sit on it. That's all it takes. Sword Soul, not doing as well this time around. Definitely lowered its tier potential. It just doesn't do enough. All the other decks above just do so much. And the Ishizu stuff also makes it very hard to play. No, I'm not gonna lie. And Grand Maju and Stun, those are the two kind of the weirder ones because they're non-meta. They're like off-meta decks, of course, rogue decks. Stun is the one that I don't really quite understand yet, but I do see the potential. Having played against Stun decks where they layer 2 different Floodgates, it's very hard to play if you're under 2. You break 1 and 1 disruption will skip your turn. That's why I put Stun at such a high level. In terms of everything with hidden potential, you can see a clear pattern here in terms of what's wrong with these decks. They're hit by collateral damage of people just main decking Bestial cards and DD Crows. Eldritch, it's so hard to play unless you have Conquistador. Labyrinth, okay, I'm putting that there mainly because Nishi just keeps on topping with this, so it makes no sense. And he's not willing to share his deck list because he doesn't know how to record a deck profile. But anyways, yeah, he's been doing really well with that deck, surprisingly. Then there's Drytrons and Mathemax, same issues, light stuff getting banished. It's just so painful. It's just really, all it is just painful. Phantom Knights, same idea. Heroes, they can still do some crazy plasma plays, especially when they go first. And as for pre-Photon Hypernova Kashtira, yeah, they're in hidden potential, but we know it's gonna skyrocket once we get to Photon Hypernova. That's where the deck really shines, and it's gonna be a format definer. But there's probably more stuff, so leave it down in the comment section if I definitely missed out on your decks. All right, yeah, I think that covers most things. If I miss anything, or maybe maybe your deck belongs up here somewhere, leave it down in the comment section. Don't forget about the giveaways and check out MSTmerch.com. all right, guys, because it's a sale and it's not gonna last forever. Take your chance, especially if you want to stock up on some of your favorite items. That's all I got for this video, guys. If you guys enjoyed this video, smash that thumbs up button. If you guys want to see more stuff from MST.TV, hit subscribe, ding that notification bell, because Nishi has waited for the prices to settle, and finally we're going to give you guys a market watch tomorrow. And that's all I got for this one, and I'll see you guys in the next one.